The ugliest dresses in Bridgerton are actually the most historically accurate and the deadliest. Everyone makes fun of the Featherington family for wearing tacky colors. But in the Regency era, these colors were the height of fashion. Dressmakers used arsenic to get that Pomona green or Scheele's green. Lord and Lady Featherington are wearing this color, which causes skin ulcers. The toxicity matches their desperation, while the old money Bridgertons stay secure in their pastels. Dearest gentle reader, in this episode of the Antilibrary Podcast, I will talk about Bridgerton and the Regency era, strictly between 1811 and 1820, but more broadly, between the period 1790s and the 1830s. Its etiquette, the dancing and the balls, its secret language of flowers and fashion, and above all, its gossip with a dose of Jane Austen and other Regency literature. But fret not, it is not Regency per se, but a fanciful rendition of how Regency was, or as I like to call it, Regencycore. Allow me to start with the gossip first. We all know by this time that Penelope Featherington is the elusive Lady Whistledown who uses her witty and scathing newsletters to expose the secrets and scandals of London's high society, or the ton, from the French le bon ton. In the trailer of season 4, we see Queen Charlotte absolutely delighted to finally track her down and befriend her, getting a privileged view into the world of gossip. In the Regency era, gossip referred to in contemporary slang as on dit, or French for they say or it is said. It was a potent social currency that could make or break one's reputation. For unmarried women, any breach of etiquette, such as walking unescorted or being seen in an intimate situation, could lead to social ostracization. The most beloved activity of the Regency era upper class was ballroom dancing. It was also where gossip spread. Remember the Netherfield ball in Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice? The protagonist, Elizabeth, overhears Darcy calling her tolerable but not handsome enough, cementing her dislike for him. But Charlotte, her best friend, notices Darcy's intense gaze at Elizabeth, leading to gossip about Darcy's unspoken attraction. Likewise, in season 1 of Bridgerton, Daphne and the Duke's feigned disinterest, which slowly turns real, becomes fodder for the gossip of Lady Whistledown. Patricia Mears-Pax, in her influential work, Gossip, remarks that gossip comes from our desire to understand others and realization of the impossibility of knowing. Basically, when we gossip because we can never truly know what someone else is thinking. Think about it. In a sense, gossip coheres the world of Bridgerton, as people need to read others' minds with very little knowledge, from some rudimentary body language in a ballroom, where a mere curiosity might be interpreted by others as attraction, or being introvert could be seen as impolite. So that is why the very narration of Bridgerton is gossipy. We viewers are also a participant in Lady Whistledown's charmed circle of gossip girls. Whistledown's gossipy knowledge even challenges the royal authority of Queen Charlotte over the marriage market, and that is why the Queen gets so bent on finding the real identity of the lady. In the world of Regencycore, gossip reigns supreme. Dancing was a social language in Regency era, as it was one of the few acceptable forms of physical proximity, and the Bridgerton gets it. Intricate steps, eye contact, and little hand touches all conveyed desire or disdain. The dances of Bridgerton are, of course, also highly choreographed. The orchestral covers of modern pop songs by Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, Coldplay, and so on focus on intense sexual tension to make the period relatable, even if the intimacy is more overt than historically accurate, obviously. But we are not complaining about that. In season 2, the iconic wrecking ball dance, where the undeniable chemistry and unspoken desire between the Viscount Anthony Bridgerton and Kate Sharma comes through charged looks and powerful body language, is a case in point. Balls are, of course, where pivotal events happen, like Benedict meeting his Cinderella figure Sophie at the masquerade ball. We would see where that storyline goes, but I'm intrigued by the fact that Benedict is called a Rake. When Sophie, working anonymously as a maid in the Bridgerton household, and Benedict is pursuing her to be a mistress, I am getting a strong vibe of Samuel Richardson novels. Benedict mirroring such Rake characters as Mr. B in Pamela and Robert Lovelace in Clarissa, although the makers are promising us a Cinderella. Let's see where that goes. But the Regency debutants would be interpreted by their fashion even before they stepped into the ball, and Bridgerton gets it exactly right. In Bridgerton, every fabric, every fold, and palette have a hidden code. The Bridgerton family is known for wearing Bridgerton Blue, a pale shade inspired by fine china that symbolizes their high social status, their wealth, and calm demeanor. In season 1, Daphne Bridgerton's dainty pastel wardrobe reflected her initial innocence. Her later shift towards darker purples after marriage marked her character growth, demonstrating how designer Sophie Canal used color to signify changes in age and personality. We see parasols aplenty in Bridgerton, but a key article of Regency fashion is missing for the most part, and that is the bonnet. Likewise, the men also mostly do not have their trademark walking sticks, very important. Queen Charlotte's style has some historical accuracy, but her heavy corset and her iconic and over-the-top moving swan wigs are more 18th century Rococo than Regency. The Sharma family style features rich jewel tones, beadwork, and gold jewelry, which are more South Asian, and blends these cultural elements while the high-waisted with the Regency silhouettes, which are high-waisted. Her indigo dress, the one she wears while letting loose and finding joy with Antony, signifies her emotional freedom and balance. But indigo is also one of the most important plantation commodities from South Asian Empire, as is sugar from the Caribbean. So when Kate finds freedom wearing indigo, or the Duke of Hastings in season 1 licks the sugar spoon, the Empire does leave some imprints in this shimmery world of Bridgerton. Oh, but that's okay. It's Regencycore, not Regency for real. But we want the rakes without the syphilis, and the splendor without dwelling long on the history of colonialism in the fairy tale world of Bridgerton. So, let's move to the language of flowers. In Regency novels, the language of flowers or Floriography is woven with fashion, and we see that in Bridgerton a lot. The Bridgerton house is covered in wisteria, which means a strong bond but also a certain clinginess. We see Penelope moving from a vivid yellow called Jonquil, which symbolizes slighted love or envy, to pink and peach shades, and later into the Bridgerton Blue by the end of season 3. Now, a lot of these tropes actually come from the silver folk novels of the 1820s. They were actually called silver folk novels of the 1820s and 1830s. The key practitioners being Lady Blessington, Catherine Gore, and Lady Berry. I highly recommend Catherine Gore's Women as they are if you want to have an experience of the fashionable but strenuous Regency world in a historically accurate way. And now we come to Floriography, or the language of flowers, which was a key Regency era communication method. Its history traces back to the Ottoman Empire's salam etiquette. Lady Mary Wortley Montagu's Letters from Constantinople helped spread the concept to 18th century Europe. The first dedicated dictionary, Le Langage de Fleur, was published by Madame Charlotte de la Tour in 1819. In Bridgerton, Penelope's gown in the final ball of season 2 has tulips embroidered on the fabric, hinting that all along she was next up to find romance. But Penelope crossed her class constraints in a more significant way by printing her gossip in Bridgerton. We see her getting her Lady Whistledown papers printed at a rather seedy print shop in an unfashionable part of London. Now, gossip is a feminine enterprise for a Regency lady, but by printing them, she enters the masculine domain of scandal sheets. It is interesting that she uses a thick Irish accent that matches the stereotype of the Irish redhead to pass off as a maid rather than the typical English working class manner of speaking, such as the London Cockney accent. There is a bit of media history behind Lady Whistledown's papers. In the 1820s, newspapers like the Morning Post and the John Bull featured columns detailing the fashionable world. These often used initials and dashes. For example, the Duke of D- to avoid libel suits, though readers could easily identify the subjects. Reports of fashionable faux pas, especially on elopements, and the crim con or criminal conversation on adultery trials were especially popular. Interestingly, such gossips were also prominent in the silver folk novels we just talked about of Catherine Gore and Lady Berry. So, is Penelope a budding novelist then, who would hold on to her own without just becoming a good Bridgerton wife? Whether she is a novelist or a gossip, she is definitely rewriting the rules of the era. In short, do not take history lessons from Bridgerton. It is not the Regency, it is Regencycore. Stay warm, stay historically inaccurate, and subscribe for more deep dives.